Good afternoon, everybody. You are listening to K4CO Radio, and we have a very special guest in our studio today. So you're going to be listening to me. This is Josh, and we also have Sarah Duke, who's our Vice President of Media Relations, and we are sitting down with the amazing Christopher Charles Romero, Romero. That's
Thank you for having me back. This is awesome.
Yeah, of course. Definitely. We loved it. And we are sitting here with Christopher Romero. I'm just going to say Romero.
Just say Romero.
Just say Romero.
Easier.
Okay. And we'll get into that later.
Between the album title, which is a bunch of syllables, and then my name, it's just going to confuse you.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
Call it Cinco and Romero.
You know that you've made it. Like when you have the one name.
Right?
Yeah. When people call me Duke, I'm like, that's right. I have made it.
Bono, Duke, Sting, and Romero. We're in good company.
Exactly.
There you
go. All right. Well, he's sitting here with his guitar, and so he's going to be playing some live music. But first, before we get on to that, we're going to play one song from his new EP that just came out. The EP is called Cinco de la Rock and Rolla.
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. Well, we're going to play a song called Afterglow, Staring at the Sky. Did you want to say anything about this song?
I love this. I love this song. It's my wife's favorite song. It's just one of those songs that it's catchy. It's melodic. It was heavily influenced by the Beatles and Stone Temple Pilots and all these great Foo Fighters, everything that I listen to, and I just kind of put it all in a blender. So
that is awesome.
We all borrow from each other. We all borrow from each other.
We do.
Or did I set myself up, for failure by saying Beatles? Because it's a big plateau, but I don't know. You'll get what I mean.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be right back. This is off of the new EP, Cinco de la Rock and Rolla, with Afterglow, Staring at the Sky.
to let it show. Living in the afterglow. I'm not bringing up the past just to prove who's right or wrong. Let me in, give me a chance. We will never be alone. You were staring at the sky. I was trying not to cry. And all the times I told you lies, let me make it right.
That was Afterglow, Staring at the Sky, and that was off of the fifth album, EP, Cinco de la Rock and Rolla. And all right, so we've touched this on the last interview, but for our listeners right now, you go under Christopher Charles Romero as well as Romero. Tell us about that real quick.
Yeah, so the first two records we released under Romero, my last name, and then we found out that we were having issues with Apple Music, iTunes, and whatever, Spotify, where people couldn't find the record or the songs were actually getting placed under another artist's page, and it was just a nightmare. So come the third record, I said, I'll just use my full name. I don't think there's that many Christopher Charles Romeros, but there could be, who knows?
Right.
But so the last three records, we did it that way, and hopefully it's easier.
No, it definitely is. Like looking it up, because we have songs from your first two as well as your full name. So looking it up on certain things, it's kind of like there's a 1990s band called Gun, where you type in Gun and it's like you got to scroll down like 70 artists just to try to find them. So yeah, you've been going under Christopher Charles Romero, but you're just Romero.
Yeah.
So all right. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming in. This is absolutely awesome.
I'm grateful. I love the fact that you guys support Colorado artists the way you do, and you're giving all of us an outlet to showcase our music. This is amazing. It's so challenging to get on the radio, and we talked about it earlier. Like I'm always posting content on social media, and it's one of those things where I don't think the average listener knows how hard it is for an artist to get on the radio. Even national acts or big signed acts that have sold millions of records, still struggle to somehow get on a playlist on a radio station. It is so challenging. So anytime I get airplay with anybody, I'm always grateful.
Well, the pleasure is definitely on our side.
Absolutely. I say it truly every day. I'm so blown away by the talent we have here in Colorado. And yeah, I mean, hats off to Josh. He really wanted this platform for exactly what you just were talking about. It's to give you the time and the exposure and say, oh my gosh, I do. I say it truly every day. I'm like, I'm so blown away. It's just
that's awesome.
The vocals.
It really is.
It is.
Yeah.
So you just recently came out with Cinco de la Rock and Rolla.
Correct. So the CD came out late May, and we now have it. It's available on vinyl, which is really cool. There's been a resurgence in vinyl. So my first record and this latest one, Cinco, both are on vinyl, which is kind of cool. So
that's
I'm gonna
awesome.
have to buy that. I have vinyl.
Drop that needle.
Yeah. I love it. Oh,
So.
yeah. There's just something about that warmth.
Yeah.
feel.
Totally.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Well, tell us a little bit about the new album. You were saying kind of you went with a different kind of feel.
Yeah.
On this.
If I go back again, if we're repeating ourselves from the first interview, all my records have an eclectic mix of everything that I grew up on, everything that I've been influenced by. So there's hard rock, alternative rock, there's southern rock, country, acoustic singer, songwriter. I've sort of blended all these genres, so I didn't want to be pigeonholed into one thing. And as an independent artist, that is the beauty of being an independent artist, is having that artistic freedom. Because if I was on a record label right now, like a major, they would tell me to pick a lane. You either are going to be this or you're going to be this, but you can't be both.
Yep.
And I was like, I'll just do this the way I want to do it. So that being said, I think as time goes by and where you are in life, it kind of comes out in the songs. So if I go back to that first record, which was, I had a lifetime to write that thing, my first official solo record, which was 2017. And so again, I took everything, like a sponge, everything I grew up on, Kiss, Aerosmith, Van Halen, and then bands like Rival Sons and Chris Stapleton and Bon Jovi and all these artists that I love, that kind of came out in that first record. And then, sort of continued it with the next couple of records. But this last record, spending the last 3 years in Nashville, it was, hard not to be influenced by that environment. And so, and I don't just mean in the country sense of, because Nashville is what they're known for, but there's so many, had the opportunity to work with a bunch of different musicians, different producers, and so that kind of rubbed off on me. But I think, again, the record is a little melodic. It's a little, I had one guy say it was kind of indie alt, which I never would thought that was where it was going, but I'll take that. And it is melodic, there's less, the guitars aren't as heavy, but it's layered in a sense where, again, I played all the instruments on the record and I wrote everything except for the cover song that we did from Bruce Springsteen. I did have one co-write. The last song is called Wild Love with a filmmaker buddy of mine named Eric Weinstock. He wrote some beautiful lyrics. But anyway, so back to the record, we layered it. So there's acoustic guitars, electric guitars, piano, strings and Hammond B3 organ and bass and drums and shakers and tambourines, and I stacked the vocals on some of the songs and some I left just with one voice or whatever. It was really just kind of a little bit of experimenting, but again, in the last few years, listening to a lot of like Bryan Adams and Jason Isbell and Foo Fighters and Beatles, and just, I love all those artists. And so it consciously or subconsciously, it'll come out in the writing.
And it's so amazing. It's wonderful when you, like you said, a label would say choose a direction. I don't want to choose a direction.
Right.
There's many different avenues that I like, and it is interesting when people describe it to you, and you're like, I never thought about it that way.
Right.
It is really cool. I love how versatile you are. I mean, I do. I think a lot of people in media genres get that pigeonholed syndrome.
Right.
And I'm so blown away by everything that you've been able to do in your life. It comes out in your music that you actually have not only kind of that external, but the internal freedom, and that you can go and kind of pick and choose your own adventure. And I find that so beautiful that you have this large collection that you can pull from. It's very inspiring.
Oh, thank you. And I wouldn't change it. There are some challenges even to this day, because what happens, let's say I'm submitting a press kit for a music festival, or for maybe I want to play with a certain artist or whatever the case is. I have to figure out because if somebody hears one of the country songs, they're not going to get it. Right. So I get, send the rock stuff here or whatever. So literally, I've opened up for Dwight Yoakam, and I've opened up for Five Finger Death Punch. So two completely different artists, right? Yeah. And pulled it off.
That's amazing. So, I don't know any other artist who could do that.
So acoustically, we did an acoustic show at a beautiful amphitheater a few years back with Dwight Yoakam, and then again we've done big festivals with bands like Avenged Sevenfold and Candlebox and Five Finger Death Punch, and I played with Joan Jett, and I've played with Sublime. oh my God, Lita Ford, Winger. I mean, it's all over the place. I'm very blessed and very lucky. I'm not throwing names because I'm bragging. It's trying to show you the diversity of what we've been able to pull off. And a lot of it is just like luck and timing and being in the right place at the right time. You don't know what they're going to like. And even with like coming up, so Thursday we're doing Cheap Trick, which is like one of my all-time favorite bands, legendary band. And there was several bands that the promoter submitted. We were chosen. And it didn't mean that we're any better than them, but it just happened to be our luck. Mm-hmm. Because on another day, another band could have got the gig and it wouldn't have made it, any different. So I feel blessed. I really do.
I am surrounded by, I have two very humble boys with me right now. Humble men, I should say. Sorry. That's a tribute completely to you. That is completely how my brain works, where I will listen to Josh Groban and then Metallica right after.
There you go.
So, I totally understand that path, and kudos to you. That's pretty awesome.
And I love when I'm on the air, and a lot of times I just pick songs at the moment, like what am I in the mood for? Right. And I love when I go to your songs. It's like, man, it fits almost every mood. So it's like, gosh, what mood am I in? And you have a song for that.
Right. And sometimes I think I've even had friends, relatives, fans, listeners, whatever, people hit me up. There's a little bit of a darkness in some of it, but there's always light and there's always hope. And I do wear my heart on my sleeve. So if I'm having a bad day and it comes out on a song, I don't get rid of that song because the next day I'm feeling good. I'm like, that's where I was. It's real. It's going on the record. Yep. My cousin recently asked me about the song "Lost in Nashville," which is on the new record, and his perception was, "Are you quitting? Are you done?" Because he felt that it told a story of me giving up, but it really wasn't. It was me having a bad day, but realizing I got to keep fighting about whatever. And I love the fact that my listeners will interpret the lyrics in their own way instead of me just saying, no, this is what it's about. And because if that's what it made him feel, at least the song's still connected. And
right.
I love that.
Completely. We talked about Quentin Tarantino. I'm with you. He is by far like the top of the list. And if you look at it, there's so many different layers, like what you're explaining. And I see why that kind of motivates you or inspires you with Quentin Tarantino. If I watch something like Kill Bill or Pulp Fiction, I mean, it does have that dark undertone for sure, but it's one of the most beautiful, well-written. I mean, I don't even know how to put it into words, but I totally understand that
what
you
you're saying.
can. Because when people hear me talk about it, they're like, you like all this blood? I'm like, look how artistic it is. It's beautiful.
Right.
And, you can kind of get those different tones going.
Get away of the cursing and the violence. And there's a beautiful story.
Yes.
It's his dialogue. There's nobody that does it like he does.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And
like the Hateful Eight, man, that first half is just, dialogue.
And I think one of the most magical things about music is the fact that we can take a song, attribute it to our life, to our thoughts, to our emotions, and it has absolutely nothing to do with why the person wrote it.
Right.
And that's the magic behind it.
I agree.
And absolutely love it. So, want to talk real quick. You said Thursday the 4th, so you're playing with Cheap Trick, and this is at Greeley Stampede.
Greeley Stampede, we're playing on the main stage. Doors at 7. We are on at 7:45 sharp. I have a live band that I am so proud of. These guys have been working their tails off they've learned all my entire catalog because should I call an audible, which I've known to do, I'll just look back and say, cut so-and-so, we're doing this. And these guys are so good to go. So can I just give a shout out to the guys?
Of course.
So on lead guitar, Paul Trinidad Jr., who's an incredible musician. He plays in a couple of country bands locally, but in the 2000s, he was in a band called Love 45. They were signed to Sony. Incredible band. He's a great songwriter, great showman on stage. Patrick Searcy on lead guitar, Tony Ortega on pedal steel, John DeWitt on keyboards, Joe Marone on bass, and Rich Carlson on drums. I mean, I'm so lucky to have these guys. When I say backing me up, it doesn't do it justice, but right. You know what I'm saying. They're the band that are a part of this summer with me, and they're just killing it I am so excited to play with these guys live because I've been doing so many solo acoustic gigs that I was missing. I was like, I wanted to feel the whole band. And again, doing something off of every record, you kind of just go on this journey with us, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
So how is that a lot? Because you're a multi-instrumentalist. You play everything on your albums.
Correct.
So to then, build a band, people that are that good that you just absolutely connect with. How was that like? I mean,
so the last 7 years, I've just, again, being blessed, luck, whatever you want to call it. Every year we do some big show, some national, and it could be anybody from A to Z in the music industry. So whenever I would get these opportunities, I look around at the artists that are in Colorado, again, going back to what you guys have been doing, showcasing all these great bands and great artists. And I'm like, I want this drummer or I want that bass player. So I've rotated. There's been so many guys that have been part of the Romero band per se that aren't permanent members, but they've come in and I've given them the opportunity to play with Tesla or play with Joan Jett, because maybe they wouldn't have that opportunity because their band is a cover band or a tribute band. And nothing wrong with that because they're doing what they love. They're making music, and I love that. But when I go, you know what? I'm so lucky. I get to do this show with Tesla. I know this guy's a Tesla fan. I'm going to give him an opportunity. So I'll just say, hey, would you like to do this show? If so, learn these songs and we'll get together. And, it's been like that. So I've rotated. I've had a million different drummers and bass players and guitar players. But consistently, Paul Trinidad has been with me the most over the last few years doing these shows. And there's just seems to be something that he and I gel. Mm-hmm. And so, but again, this lineup, I'm so excited. Selfishly, I wish I could steal them from their projects and make it a full-time thing, but right. I understand. And it's weird because I'm almost asking for a full-time commitment from a band that's part-time because we don't really tour. We'll do some occasional festivals and things like that, but it's a different thing, and so I can't put that on them. They're thriving in their other projects. And so, again, I'm lucky that I get them this summer, so I'll make the most of it. And I hope that we're blessed with more opportunities because I want to keep playing with these guys.
Well, we'll keep spinning you. I definitely know that. I absolutely love it.
Awesome.
Speaking of which, I want to hear a song.
I do too.
Yeah.
Unplugged style.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'll do something off the new record. This is actually the title track. Obviously, you're going to get a very stripped down version, but the recorded version layered with a lot of clean and pretty electric guitars and acoustic guitars and Hammond B3s and bass and drums. And anyway, it's a song called Let It Go, and it kind of speaks for itself, so give this a shot. Running from a nightmare that you've been sleeping through. You can't seem to shake it. I know you think it's true. I'm telling you to forget this, to find another way. Harbor all the sorrow, just pray it fades away. You gotta let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Are you seeking some forgiveness for sins you don't recall? So guilt that you've been feeling, putting up a wall. Pretend like you don't feel it. Smile right through the tears. Fake your way through moments. Always lived in fear. You gotta let it go. Let it go. Let best intentions. You knew that this could never last. So you numb yourself to hide it, so you don't feel a thing. Guilt that you've been feeling, there's something in between. You gotta let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. You gotta let it go.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome right there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow. Heck yeah. This is our first acoustic kind of like live thing in the studio. So thank you very much. That actually, I love
Thanks.
it. And
Thank you.
I love the more intimate, like you say, you do a lot of solo acoustic shows out there.
Right.
Real nice, intimate kind of flavor. So what do you have like a favorite when it comes to your solo acoustic stuff or with the band? Or, I mean, is it just...
It depends on the mood, you know what I mean? So, again, sometimes it's just Paul and I, or sometimes we're an acoustic trio. Sometimes there's 7 of us on stage. You just never know.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing, I guess, when I'm doing it completely as I am today with one guitar, one vocal, I improvise a lot, and I'll just try things that I've never done, or taking something off the record and doing a completely kind of rendition of that because I don't have the other instruments behind the song. So the songs always kind of have a new life.
Right.
Lyrics and melodies kind of stay the same, but there's little tweaks and whatever that might change it up just a bit.
Just kind of flavor it
Yeah,
depending
yeah.
on your mood and right.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
absolutely.
Gotcha. You also have July 13th coming up. You got Bob Stock.
Yeah, Bob Stock's a 2-day music festival in Fort Morgan, Colorado. So Friday night, they have cover bands, tribute bands, original bands, and then a national headlines on Friday night. So Friday night, the Spin Doctors are headlining, and then Saturday night, which the night we're playing, Three Dog Night. So there you go, another completely different genre and artist.
Right.
And but that's cool that they mix it up like that. And again, there's live music and food trucks and entertainment it's family friendly, and it's a free festival. So,
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very
Fort Morgan,
nice.
Colorado. Yeah.
Love the free festivals.
Right? Concerts are a little pricey these days.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's insane right now. So, and then you're August 18th, you're also playing as well at the Armory Event Center in Brighton.
Correct. We're opening for Lynch Mob. And we talked quite a bit about George last time, but for those of you that don't know, you're new. So George and I have a great history. So George is the original guitar player from the band Dawkin and Lynch Mob. And then he's done a million solo projects since then. One of the greatest guitar players in the history of rock. I'm not saying that because he's my friend, but look it up. I mean, he's like another Van Halen. And literally for me, as a 16-year-old kid when I was learning guitar, I had his poster on my wall. So it was like George Lynch, Neil Schon, Eddie Van Halen. Those were my guys. And, fast forward 30 years later, I ended up singing in Lynch Mob for a few dates. And then because of that, we just became really good friends. He ended up playing on my first record, which was a blessing. And we've done a ton of shows together, both performing each other's music and then me opening for Lynch Mob, with in different places. And so we have a great relationship. He's become a good friend, which is surreal. But that's one of the perks and the benefits of of being in this industry. You just crazy things happen like that, and you're just like you roll with it. And yeah, he's a good buddy. It's still I still kind of geek out. Like I mean, he's been to my house, and I'm still like I still can remember being 16 years old, having docking records and docking posters on my wall, and then it's like, this guy's my bro,
I think with talent like that, you don't ever stop geeking out. I mean, it's
really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good dude. So yeah, August, did I say 17th? Yeah.
You told me 18th.
I think it's the 17th, my bad.
Okay.
Saturday the 17th. I don't have my calendar.
I'm going to pull up a calendar. It's a Saturday, so
it's a Saturday.
17th.
August 17th, Lynch Mob, Romero, live at the Armory Event Center. It's going to be a good time.
Awesome.
And
I am curious, being with all these different genres and different veins that you've experienced, when you write a song, and I know we all go through different, moods, days, we all have our stuff, right?
Right.
So are you the type of person that writes a song in one sitting? Are you pulling from past experiences? I'm kind of curious what your process is like that, since you are so versatile.
honestly, some of the songs I've written songs in 10 minutes, and then other have taken 10 months to like, I'll start something, maybe it's just a chord progression or a riff, whatever, or a couple of lyrics, something that, and then I'll build off that and I'll go back to it. Mm-hmm. So I'll immediately, if I'm home in my studio, I'll track something, even if it's just an intro and a verse, and I'll save it. I'll click it, put the date, come back to it later, because if I force something, then the song doesn't come out.
For sure. No, that makes
but
sense.
I have written stuff like, in 10 minutes.
Are you usually doing the lyrics first, or are you usually doing the instruments?
I would say that lyrics come sooner than the music.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah.
So I've got, tons of ideas on my phone and notebooks at home, and just sometimes I'll go through something, or if something sounds a little familiar, I'm like, I think I used that, and I could take something old and turn it into a story that if it's still relatable, on whatever the subject of the song is. But I think lyrics somehow come first, and then I'll usually sit behind the piano or a guitar and try to come up with chords and melodies, and then build it from there. And then that'll all kind of decides, because I've done demos where it's just vocal guitar or vocal piano, and I'll listen back, or my wife will say, oh, you should leave it with just piano. But then in my head, I'm hearing everything. I want to hear strings and, all these other instruments, and bass and guitars. So I've done recorded versions of songs where I did both, completely stripped down and then fully layered, and then kind of just have to flip a coin and see what's going to end up on the record.
That's awesome. Well, coming from this side, listening to it, it does sound very organic, which it doesn't sound ever forced, and I love the fluidity of it. It definitely comes across again with all the versatility that you have, which is it's so impressive. Like, being on truly this side, I'm like, how does that come out from like all these different genres? So that's very cool.
And a lot of your songs are kind of, I would say, kind of storytelling on that. And so, do you find yourself more writing songs about your life, what you've experienced, or more writing about fictional? Have you ever, is there like a balance on that, or is every song
Autobiographical?
Yeah.
I would say a majority of it is, in a sense, things that I've gone through. A big part of my journey, which I share, and anybody that knows me, is I got sober 10 years ago, and that definitely made me look at music and my life in a completely different way, just through clear eyes, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so it comes out, and sometimes there's a song like Let It Go. It's because I'm stressed out about stupid things I did back when I wasn't, a smart man, and living a completely different lifestyle. So songs like that, I write them to tell myself, hey, it's okay, let it go. So you'll get an idea. Even the song Goodbye off the first record, which people thought it was like this love song or a breakup song, it was really a breakup song with that lifestyle. So if you go back and you really listen to the lyrics or read the lyrics to Goodbye, it's not what you think. And now that I've told you, you'll get it now, because some people said, why would you write such a sad breakup song? I thought you and your wife have been married forever. And I'm like, no, bro. Read it again, you know? And that's the thing. And I don't always want to tell the listener that, but when they ask me what it's about, I'll tell them. Mm-hmm. But that's a perfect example of where I'm at in my life. So the songs reflect that. There's a lot of, like I said, sometimes it can be perceived as a little dark, but there's always light and hope. And so that's the model that I'm trying to live by. And believe me, I have days where I'm bummed, I'm down, pity party, whatever's going on, the life, the world, whatever's affecting you. And I don't know if that's always the best day to write, but sometimes something comes out. And because it's real, it's going to be real.
I think some of the greatest songs out there are not happy songs. They're about real stuff, as you say, dark, but also lightness in there. I mean, you have those songs out there that are just all, happiness and all good and feel good and everything like that. But some of the greatest songs out there are just, if you really read it and you really listen to what they're saying, it's not a bright song. Right. And it's amazing because it's real life. Exactly. I love it. Like
lyrically and musically, like a lot of the stuff on the new record, I was like, as I mentioned before, listening to like Jason Isbell and Ryan Adams and Butch Walker. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, these probably next to like Van Halen, which I just grew up on and loving. Butch Walker's probably my favorite like artist right now. Between him and Rival Sons, it'd be a tough pick. But Butch is one of those guys that tells stories, as does Jason Isbell. I mean, Jason Isbell songs, I cry. In my car, I'm sobbing down the highway like this. It's so beautiful. Right. His storytelling, and it's like, that's what, I was like, I want to be able to have just a hint of that, or whatever, because there's something about when it connects with you. Mm-hmm. Even if I wasn't an artist and I just read his lyrics, I was just like, oh my gosh, this guy's unbelievable. Right. But those kind of artists, I guess I probably gravitate towards, and again, I think it's starting to show in some of my writing and some of the new stuff. Like I said, this feels like almost a rebirth. It's a different record for me. And I'm proud of all the projects I've been a part of. And like I said, we'll keep showcasing all 5 records. But I'm already writing for the next record, and this one's only been out like a month because I just have so many things coming up, and I have to be a little more strategic about how I put out the songs. But I want to enjoy the ride right now with this one. But I like where things are going musically for sure. Right. I was going to ask you about that. If you're, with these shows coming up, you've taken a hold off writing, but it sounds like you just constantly writing. It's just one of those things you constantly do. Yeah. Right. I've tested out a couple of songs that didn't make the record in my live acoustic thing, just to gauge, to see if people dig it. And I think it's going to be cool. You revisit a lot of older songs every once in a while. Yeah. I'll go back to something, a riff, an idea, and I'm like, I should finish this one. Or I was always told never throw anything away. Right? Ever. It makes sense. Yeah. Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. I also wanted to ask real quick, you're directing a movie. Yeah. So I've been working on a script for a little while, and because of my hectic schedule in life, I never had a chance to really finish it. Mm-hmm. We finally finished it, submitted it to a network, and they're very interested. In the next step for me is I'm going to be shooting a trailer, sizzle reel, kind of like what your buddy's working on, and to kind of give them the vision of the film. And I'm going to be using a local cast and crew. But that being said, if the deal goes through, then there'll be some pretty big names in the final thing. And if the deal doesn't happen, we're still going to make the movie, just because it's just a passion of mine. So I'm excited. Yeah, we're shooting it in northern Colorado, in Greeley, and then a few things in Lafayette, Colorado. Nice. So it's going to be fun. Well, if you need an extra, I'm there. You're there? Absolutely. All right. Absolutely.
I'll wave from the side.
You'll wave from the sidelines?
I'll cheer you on.
You're welcome to join in.
Okay. I'll help produce. I'll be like, cut. Do it again. Take 20.
If there's somebody that dies in it, can I be the dead guy? Like,
Absolutely.
I'm a really good killer. I will tell you that.
It sounds like you guys might want to be a part of this, because it's going to be right up your alley. No doubt.
That's awesome. That is definitely our genres.
what are what are some of the best, those nights where you're just like, man, that was a show. That was amazing. You ever think back on some of those nights where a concert was just, everything was perfect?
I
didn't tell you I'd be asking that.
No, that's fine. As a solo artist, I think it was a big deal for me to step away from my previous bands, because we had some success on a certain level. Mm-hmm. And so there was a lot of people that said, I don't think he could do it without those bands or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just like, I'm going to write what I'm going to write, which I had told you before, and do what I'm going to do. And if things go the way I hope, awesome. If they don't, I'm still going to have that freedom to do whatever. But in terms of like probably the first time I played something off the new record or heard it on the radio, but probably when we opened up for Tesla was a pretty cool moment. Now, I'd played with Tesla years ago in different bands, but as a solo artist and just getting out there, it was pretty cool. And playing with Chris Daughtry, I did an acoustic show with Chris, and to be able to play my music in front of his audience and then have him come up to me and tell me how much he enjoyed the show and then invite me to do more shows with him it kind of just solidified, like, I can do this. I think I can do this. I kind of felt like I said, I've gotten a second chance at music, because it's, if you write it down on paper, it's not going to make sense. If you go by how old I am, you're like, this guy's still doing it. Why is he still doing it? I hear that, and it's whatever. But the fact that I'm still like in the game, I'm blown away by that. Mm-hmm. And I'm not measuring things by record sales or how many radio stations are playing me or whatever. I'm just enjoying the moment. But yeah, I would say just the first time I played as a solo artist felt like this is pretty amazing. Now, I have played Red Rocks, which is mind-blowing. That was 26 years ago. I was in a heavy metal band, and we opened up for Megadeth and Deftones. And it was incredible because, being from Colorado, going to concerts there your whole life, and then to be on that stage, yeah, that's a pretty special moment. And I'm not going to lie, I've been fighting to get back there ever since. I'm hoping that there'll be an opportunity with these new records. You just trying to manifest it for sure. But, and if it doesn't happen, I still have that memory.
Right.
Yeah.
It is an amazing venue.
It is. Yeah.
Goodness. I actually used to work security there. And so like on certain nights, like jam bands, they play like 3 or 4 days in a row. People needed to be there overnight. Yeah. And so you had to do the runs, do the walkarounds, but then every once in a while you had time. So I would actually just sit on stage, play my guitar in an empty Red Rocks.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was just awesome. Yeah. It's such a beautiful venue with great acoustics. And yeah, absolutely.
I did play there when they did Film on the Rocks, mm-hmm. but I was in a tribute band at the time, so it's not quite the same not playing your own music. But again, grateful to have played there. So
right.
Again, I want to get back there so bad. It's just like I feel like this, if the stars all align, maybe something will happen. But whatever, I'm just going with the flow. I'm lucky to still be making music, and at the end of the day, that's what I'm really grateful for.
Well, when you book Red Rocks again, I better be one of the first to know. We better know very first, because if we go on and it's sold out, I'm gonna be mad.
No.
So,
you'll be there. You'll be there.
Sounds good. Well, I kind of want to hear another song.
I do too. Absolutely.
I'm going to switch guitars if you give me.
Yeah,
one.
of course,
absolutely.
Definitely. Once again, we are.
Now I've got a roadie.
Yeah, there you go. You can be a roadie, sir.
I'm there.
You'll do it.
So this one I recorded this one in Nashville. It's on the record. It's called So Right. It was co-produced by a buddy of mine. He goes by the name The Lone Granger on Instagram. Young kid that I met.
Granger?
The Lone Granger.
Nice.
Cool kid.
Nice.
Yeah, he came in to help me engineer the record. Really, really cool kid. We worked together at a studio in Nashville. So anyway, the song's called So Right. And again, this is the stripped down version. But anyway, here we go.
All right.
doesn't shine your way. There's a dark you're living in, pretend that it's okay. If you were a song, you'd be my favorite melody. Every single note and every single word I'd sing to you, for you. All night long, just for you. When the light you're looking for doesn't shine your way, there's a dark we're living in, pretend that it's okay. If your eyes were the stars, I'd stare at the sky all night. If your heart was a moon, I'd wanna be in your light. Make you feel so alive. It's so right. All night long, we're gonna be alright. When the light you're looking for doesn't shine your way, there's a dark we're living in, pretend that it's okay.
Oh my gosh. I can't even talk. That was absolutely amazing.
Thank you so
Holy
much.
cow.
Beautiful.
Can I get a little personal? Because I
Sure.
tend to do that a little bit.
Okay.
You're incredibly talented, and that's amazing to me. I'm also in recovery. I had 10 years in January.
Oh, man,
and
awesome.
I love when I watch it unfold with another person. And I totally understand the authenticity that is your journey. And now I'm like understanding why it sounds so fluid and free, and that birth that has kind of emerged, and you can redefine who you are.
Right.
And all of these little speed bumps that we all come across. And I love it when people say you can't do it. My favorite phrase is watch me.
Right.
Because when people throw things at you, it's like, why? And it just actually motivates. And I can see that from you. It's like, do you want to focus on the tunnel or the light at the end of the tunnel? And to me, that's what I heard with that. It is you are now like 75% there, and there's the light, and watch this beautiful dove emerge. That's what I was picturing the whole time. So sorry, I just had to throw that out. That it was.
That's cool.
Well, thank you for sharing your journey. That to me is always so special. Again, being on this side, and having people express who they are.
Right.
So thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh,
that was really special.
You're very welcome. I'm grateful for you guys. This is cool.
I love it. I love this side. When people ask me what I love, I'm like, we get to be on this side and interview people and find out who they are. To me, that's what makes the world go round.
This is the great part of the job.
It is to watch how
That's
people
awesome.
collaborate and grow and like have. Oh my gosh, I'm just so amazed. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
It's hard to get me speechless, and here I am.
Thanks.
Can I ask you what you wrote that song for? What was that song?
Telling my wife we're gonna be okay, no matter whatever the storms, And there's a lot of them, but it's a part of the journey.
Sounds like your wife is a real strong rock for you.
She's the best. She's the queen of the family. Couldn't do anything without her. I love her. Charlotte, I love you. That's a fact. She's amazing. All my kids, I have my 4 kids and they're significant others, and I have 4 grandkids. And that's my world. That's the reason why I do what I do.
You're in the fun part of life, the grandkids. And writing. And
Now I just told you how old I am. But hey, it is what it is.
I love it. And so this Thursday, so everybody knows, the 4th, Greeley Stampede. Have you ever played the Greeley Stampede before?
We have played there.
You have, nice.
We played there with REO Speedwagon back in 2019. And in 2021, we did open for 3 Doors Down. But Cheap Trick, I Want You to Want Me.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I'm so stoked. This is like legit. This is like, live at Budokan, but live in Greeley.
Right? Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
We also have Bobstock Fort Morgan Music Festival, July 13th and August 17th. Lynch Mob and Romero, and I know you're really looking forward to that guy.
Yeah.
At the Armory Event Center in Brighton. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you got a nice summer ahead of you. So
Definitely.
Do you play outside of the summer? Do you play shows all year long, or
yeah? I mean, it's very sporadic.
Mm-hmm.
Like there'll be a handful of acoustic shows between now and December, but more than anything, probably if the film thing comes into fruition the way we're hoping it's going to be, that'll take up the entire fall. So I'll be focusing on that. But I'm also a teacher, so that's my day gig. I'll be teaching. So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you teach?
Music and art. I work for
you do.
District 6 in Greeley. Yeah.
Of course you do.
So yeah, I'm a teacher. So
that is awesome.
yeah, that'll be back to school in the fall. I'm on summer break, but there's no break.
Right?
I'd like to say I'm on summer break, but I'm busier than I've ever been.
Business is good.
That's a good thing. Yeah, it keeps you going.
Yeah.
Aw.
Where can people go to see the shows that you have lined up and follow you and kind of get news about you?
So the website, old school website, ChristopherCharlesRomero.net is the website.
.net.
But Christopher C. Romero on Instagram, Christopher Charles Romero on Facebook. I'm on Romero Vox, at Romero Vox, which is ROMEROVOX, and that's on X, aka Twitter.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Whatever you call it. I still call it Twitter. Yeah, so all social media pages, TikTok, I'm everywhere. You can find me. But I hang out at Instagram. Probably, my kids will probably say too much. Dad.
That's a flip
Chill out.
right there. It's the parents like, no, you're on it too much.
They're like, Dad. Okay.
Cut it out. Exactly.
Anyway, yeah. So I'm on Facebook every day. I'm on Instagram every day. Just hit me up. I'm easy to find.
Well, also a huge plug for you. It's just, again, I always go back to the type of person that you are. Because that really shows, especially like I'm on social media trying to collaborate, and there you are posting about every other musician and artist and trying to really promote them as well. And that, again, it's a tribute to who you are. So thank you for the collaboration and the partnership and really caring about your industry and other people as a whole. That is why I wanted to get on with this radio station. Like, that is what the platform is to help other people. Because if we all, this is my dad's phrase, I have to give him full credit. But if we all do a little bit of lifting, the world would be a better place.
Absolutely.
And you are such a big piece of that. So I just want to say thank you from us. And I know what you're doing to help other artists too.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be here.
Definitely one of our favorites in rotation. You know it. So.
That's very cool.
All right.
Yep.
Well, and anything else you want to say
I hope to see everybody Thursday, Cheap Trick. Get there by 7 and come and have a good time. You're going to love the live band. These guys are awesome, and it's fun. I'm playing in my hometown. That's where I live, and I teach there. I'm excited, super excited.
Awesome.
Yep, Cheap Trick, Dream Police. Let's go.
Right.
Nice.
Well, thank you very much. We've been speaking with Romero, also under Christopher Charles Romero for his albums. And no, thank you so much for coming in and playing with us. This is just such a treat.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We'll get back to the regular. Be able to see this interview on our YouTube channel, K4CO Radio. With the holiday, it'll probably take a few days, but definitely see that if you want to come back to it or tell other people about it. We've been listening and speaking with Romero, Christopher Charles Romero. You all take care and have an amazing 4th of July.